people? How are we all? So, the transfer window's open. We're here, finally. It is open. There's many positions that we are sure about we need to strengthen in, but there's one position that is getting people thinking and getting people considering, and that is striker. We have 3 players there. 3 who all have very different strengths and weaknesses. Pros and cons. Do we need a new one? Are them 3 good enough? Out of them 3, who is the one that should start? Does that affect if we bring a striker in? I'll go through all that in this video. Let's get straight into it. The first one we're going to talk about is Joe Piroe. The first pro is the obvious one, and this is the thing that he's a natural goal scorer, but not only that, he's proving it for 3 seasons now, that he's capable of scoring goals. Not 1 season, not 2 seasons, not 3 games, not 1 game, 3 seasons. He's got 14 in 49 this season. About 44 of them were for Leeds, I believe. Played for Swansea before at the start of the season. The season before that got 19 goals for Swansea. The season before that got 21 goals for Swansea. This is a player who can score goals. He has that natural ability. We cannot deny that. We know that. As shown over 3 years, he can score goals. There we go. He's got 54 goals in 133 appearances since he's been in the Championship, which is a very good goal record. It's basically just under 1 per 2. Has more experience at this level, especially one of the candidates. Not only that, successful experience, understanding at this level of how to score those goals. And it's a decent final third passer. Kind of the thing that separates him from the other guys in this is, and as you can see down there, his pass attempt is in the top percentiles for progressive passes. But he's got that side of his game, the progression side in terms of the passing ability is decent. I remember 2 or 3 of his assists this season, which he has 3 assists by the way, were decent. He's a decent passer of the ball, and that is something that we can't really give to the other guys. But there is cons, and it's a big one, that he doesn't suit the system. He's obviously not a system player. He isn't perfect. If you compare a striker to play in a Daniel Farke system, it's not Joe Piroe. He just isn't. Right? I do, and we'll get into this more, I do think he can improve on it and be more effective in this system, but he'll never be a perfect fit for it. I used an example before of, think of someone like Giroud, an unbelievable striker. There's certain systems where Joe Piroe, where Giroud will not fit. Doesn't mean he's a bad striker, doesn't mean he's a bad finisher. There's just certain systems that he will not fit. And that's the way it is. Shown this season that he isn't very effective in this team, and that's based on the system. How many games, apart from the natural goal scoring side of him, can we say Piroe was the best player or one of the standout performers? Probably 1 or 2 at most, right? He's not that type of person. As a goal scorer, he's very good. But as a system-based player, he isn't. There's no real pro and cons. His age is fine, all that stuff. So those are the main ones for Joe Piroe. Next one we'll talk about is Patrick Bamford. I think the pros are, again, obvious. Right style of player for this system. People don't like him, and that's fine. This is not an agendered video. So if you do have that, you just don't like the player, then cool. But he is the right type. I'm saying type player for this system. Can stretch defence. He occupies defenders, which is a key, and I've done many videos on that. He's a smart player as well. He knows which places to take up. He knows which areas to run. He's a smart player like that. He just is. He's got that instinct and that experience of where to go. Can't move as quick as he used to be because of his chronic injuries, but still has that brain, and that is important. You can learn from him as a young player as well. He's adaptable. Trusted by the manager. That's another thing. Whether that's a pro or a con in some people's opinions, the point is he's trusted by the manager, right? Decent start per goal record. So he's had 15 starts this season or last season in the Championship. Got 8 goals and 15 starts. That's pretty good ratio. However, there is a key big con for Patrick Bamford. Like Joe Piroe and the system stuff, which can be helped, this never really has shown signs of getting better. And that is injuries. He's never really fit. Let's be honest, he's never really fit. The amount of time he spends coming back from injuries, which aggravates other injuries because the recovery process has to be quicker because he has to get back playing. Otherwise, he'd be out for seasons. It's tough to ever find a fully fit Bamford. I think we did get it, and that's where the goals came from, and that is what he's capable of doing. But it's so unreliable that you simply cannot rely on it. That's the biggest problem. There's other problems as well. But the biggest one is availability. I don't care how talented you are. You can't walk. If you're constantly injured, you can't play. You're useless to the side, right? So that's something that is something you have to consider hugely. That's what I'm saying in that. So that's something you have to massively consider, obviously. And there's a side to it as well. He's never really been a clinical striker. He had an excellent season in the Premier League. That was a really good season. He did everything. I'm not going to diminish any of that. So that was a really good season. But apart from that, really, and get a season at Middlesbrough where he was really good. He's never really been that clinical, and he's always underperformed his XG. He's always missed a lot of big chances. Again, that is something, along with the reliability and injuries, that do make them a con of a player, right? It's obviously not pro, it's a con, so that is something you have to consider. And this little one, tactical, I can't speak. He's limited in deeper areas. That is something analysed as well. Coming deeper is very limited what he does. Joe Piroe can be. Joe Piroe will either bounce off him and he'll lose the ball, or he can get it and can turn quite nice with it and give a quick pass forward. And the final one, probably the most intriguing on this list, is of course Mateo Joseph. For us, he has the most potential. I look at the ceiling of the player. Joe Piroe, probably a 20 goal a season striker in the Championship. And this might be too much, but I think Mateo Joseph has potential to have numbers. I'm not going to say how much, has numbers in the Premier League. I think he has that potential. Potential is way away from where you are. That is the potential. That is the peak of the player. And with that, he has the highest ceiling out of the guys, which means the most value. So if you play him and he plays well, scores goals, if he stays with you or leaves, you get a value, so you can get a good transfer fee for him if you're looking at that side. Or you have a player who scores goals for you endlessly, right? You're shown he may be ready with limited minutes. So he's played limited minutes and he showed glimpses. Now, I do think there's a slight exaggeration of how well he's done at times. And this is, again, based on how good I think he can be. I think there's a lot more to the game that he needs to learn and will learn. That's a key thing. He will learn that. I think he's a good learner. I think he's a quick learner. He's shown that from when he first arrived at Leeds in the 21s. He was kind of a box poacher. Whereas in pre-season, we saw him play on the left. In the season, we saw him play a bit deeper and create different moments in his play as opposed to being in the box. He likes to create outside of it. And that is something that he'll keep developing, and because he's that type of person who keeps developing his game, which is good because you need different aspects of your game to be successful, especially as a 9 these days, the complex systems and all that. I know it's boring, but that's the way football is, and you need to have more than just one trait to you. So that's a big positive for me, and willing to learn and adapt, I've already said it. They're all huge cons. Lack of experience, and them two there, lack of experience and risk of the unknown, go together. And when I'm doing these videos, I want people to be just think about it. And I know it's people have really strong opinions on Mateo Joseph and Patrick Bamford and Joe Piroe. For some reason, it's like really strong. Like, it's the point where you can't have a decent conversation. It's like he needs this needs to happen. Conversation is a good one because they're all strikers who have different aspects that work. And that's what's key. Do we need a new striker? Because we have 3 that have different aspects. We don't have all of the aspects. That's the key, right? The talk of Joseph is, can he have all them? But it's can. Can he have them? Because there is no evidence that he's done that yet. Whether you think he can is a different thing. I think he can, but he hasn't. And that's the key part of it. He hasn't, right? So it's that chance to do that. That's what we're talking about now. That's the conversation. And it's the risk of the unknown, right? Like I just said, that hasn't happened. It could be a situation where you play Mateo Joseph, and yes, he scores 5-6 goals in the first 10, 15 games. Okay, good. These are the numbers we wanted. This is the promises we're getting. It could be a situation where you do start him, you put that faith in him. There's 10 goals, he's not got a goal. There's 10 games, he's not got a goal. Either can happen. This is life. This is football. This is normal. This is the thing that can happen. There's no guarantees either way. And one thing I do want to talk about, and it's really important to me, and it's is he misses a key part of pre-season if he is allowed to go with the Spanish national side for the Olympics. And again, this is not something that I'm saying he shouldn't do it. From a player perspective, of course, you want to represent your country in any way, shape, or form. He deserves that. He's earned that. And at the Olympics, I was speaking to Andre about this, and we disagreed on the premise of it, but we both agree that, yeah, look, the player would love to do that, and I would. That's a difficult decision for the player. It is. It's a difficult decision. The situation we're in at the club would mean he would miss the last 3 weeks training before the season, including the first game. And that's a crucial part. As a player in his position who is fighting to be that starting number 9, them last 3 weeks of pre-season are the parts where you're building your structure, you're building your playing patterns, how you're going to play, your movements, your rotations, your style of play. That's where it comes in. That's where the repetition, the match practice comes into it. And he's not there for that. Cannot deny that that is an issue from a team perspective. An individual perspective, playing for Spain with loads of excellent young players, putting his face on the map, really getting his name out there, building confidence. If he has a good tournament, that is excellent. But from coaching perspective, you have to look at it as, how do we build this team around him then if he's not available? You're preparing for the season and the first game. That will stubble his start. It just will, because he won't be there for the first game. And the build up to the first game, the 3 weeks where you're really working on team stuff, he isn't there. Again, speaking to Andre on this, the opposite side to that, the other side that is, in fact, that he could have a good tournament and come back ultra confident and be a better player and improved from that experience. And then at training, he puts it in, he's learning quicker, then he's understanding things more, he gets straight into the side. He's ready. That's the side of it. But that's the risk. And this is it with Mateo. It's all about risk and reward. How much are you willing to risk this? Because it could work, and I think it will. Let me clarify. That pre-season stuff is something that could stump at the speed in which this works. As long as when he comes back, accepts that he might have to work a little harder to get back in the squad based on the fact he's literally not been there for the end of pre-season, so you can't build around him. The squad is built around another striker because they're available. If he accepts that, understands it, and is willing to put the work in and maybe have a slower start to have an excellent middle and end, then fine. Okay. So I've moved my head a bit. So I've got a chart here, and these are 4 things that I think are really important. It's goal threat, availability, potential, system base, and as you can see at the top there, Piroe is green, Bamford yellow, and Joseph purple, and it's out of 10. And I just tried to figure out and visualize the differences and what that looks like in terms of numbers and how they can be effective for the side. Of course, goal threat, I'll put Joe Piroe the highest. He's proven it 3 seasons in the Championship now. There's no debating that. Mateo Joseph could have those numbers, but hasn't. So I put him on 6 because I think that's fair. He's got a decent conversion rate, but he's not proven it 3 seasons in a row. So Joe Piroe is an 8. He scores goals. That is one thing he can. Patrick Bamford, again, isn't necessarily a massive goal threat. That's the fact of the situation, right? He can score goals. Of course he can. He has proven that in the Championship. He scored 16 when he went up. He had 8 last year in 15 starts. But there's also that inconsistency in terms of being a goal threat there. There just is, because he misses the most chances out of the 3. Availability, again, this is the key thing. Joe Piroe was available all season. He never get any injuries. Bamford isn't. So I'd give him a 3. Just wasn't. He had this little period where he was good and he was available. And after that, he got injured again. Before he was injured. Last season, he was injured. And Mateo Joseph has the availability, but he did have a little injury before the start of last season. And there's a problem with availability at the start of this season again. So that is slightly lower. Potential, obviously, Mateo Joseph, the purple, is highest because he's still got so much to reach that potential. The other 2 are lower because Patrick Bamford is a 3 because he's a 2, because he's reached it. There's not really much growth there. Piroe is close to it. I still think there's a little bit more he can improve. I do. I think he might be a little bit more effective next season. I think he can be. I think that is a way without being perfect. And system based. Patrick Bamford is a system based player. He's missing the clinical side of it, but he's a system based player. Piroe isn't. Hence why he's the lowest. And Mateo Joseph is. Not as much as Bamford yet, and that will develop. He has all the attributes to be that, though. And I've just got, you can read that. I don't want to talk about too much, but it's an important thing. And I just want to look at conversion rates here. Goal conversion. This is the amount of shots that lead to goals that these players have. Obviously, Joe Piroe has 16 goals this season, 3 assists. Expected goals of 16.52, so he's kind of uneven with that, which is good. Goals per 90, 0.38. Expected goals per 90, 0.4. So he's kind of, what he should score, he does, which is good. Again, like I said, he can score goals. He's got that. 15% conversion rate. He has a lot of wayward shots that get blocked at times. So that's something to consider. Bamford, and this is the downside of Patrick Bamford, 8 goals, 2 assists, expected goals of 12.79. That's 12.5. That's 4.5 minus expected goals. So he should have scored 4.5, 4 or 5 more goals than he should this season, which is the problem with Patrick. He misses big chances, right? Conversion rate of 14.5, which is lower than Joe Piroe's even. Then you've got Mateo Joseph, and it's a much smaller pool, as you can see by the minutes played. It's much less than the others. He's got 3 goals this season. Expected goals are 3.57, which isn't bad. It's a small sample size. This is difficult, but it's per 90, so it kind of works it out. It's lower, so he is slightly underperforming by maybe even it out in 6 games. It'd be a goal. Goals per 90, 0.48, which is decent. Expected goals per 90, 0.57. It's slightly underperforming. But conversion rate, this is based on the amount of shots he has at goal. Shots that lead to a goal is 25%. It's a quarter, which is good. And that is a metric you can build on. But if you're looking at one metric and going, that's great, you have to take them all into consideration. We can't just say this stat says this and this. They're all into consideration there. Mateo Joseph has less minutes, so it's harder to get a wider gauge, which makes it less reliable in that sense. They have a wide gauge. It's easier to see how reliable it is. But the goal conversion rate is good. It's much higher. Smaller margin size, but in the games he played, he was more effective in that goal situation. He got shots. Shots led to goal. That's the fact of it. It's only 567 minutes. But those considerations for you. So now the decision. They're the 3 players. There's the biggest strength and the biggest con. Biggest pro, biggest con for me. Before I make a decision. Mateo Joseph. Biggest pro is potential and ceiling. What we see from him is probably 10-15% of what he could be at Leeds United or anywhere. He has so much potential that if you play him, he could, again, explode and go crazy and score goals. Right? That is true. That could happen. Downside to that is the same reason for the potential. It's the unknown. It's the lack of knowing. That works hand in hand. That's the situation. The potential is amazing. It's a lack of knowing whether it will work. That's the risk right there. Patrick Bamford is a system player. I think we look better when Patrick Bamford plays. When he starts, we look better. I genuinely do believe that. Availability simply isn't available enough. That's the fact of the situation. You cannot rely on a player. You're looking to bring a striker in, and you say, oh no, it's fine, we've got Patrick Bamford, he's our number 9, where you're thinking, well, if he's never there, he'll miss, it's likely based on stats or obvious reasons, he will miss half of the season. He'll play half the amount of games with Joe Piroe. You're looking at Joe Piroe then, who is a natural finisher, but you're saying, but he doesn't quite fit the system we need. You can look at all these guys for different reasons. But who would I go with? Do we need a new striker? I don't think so. I don't think we do. And I'm basing that on this. I'm basing that on the fact I think Mateo Joseph has what it takes. I do believe that. And I personally would back him to be the starting number 9 this season. It is a risk, but if, for example, it isn't going as well and doesn't quite work out, you do still have a goal scorer who hopefully has improved in terms of the system so it can be more effective, and the experienced system player in Patrick Bamford behind him if that isn't working. If we bring in a striker, we're first. The striker was the caliber striker we're bringing in. Got 4 in one place, 4 to play for one place. That's not the dynamic we need. We have 3 there who have attributes that can all help. It's not like they're all similar players. They have different attributes that can help. And I'm going on the basis that I think Mateo Joseph can get 10 to 15 goals next season, but also be effective in the system, whereas those goals are not necessarily needed every game because we have other players who work, right? We also have Joe Piroe, who playing maybe a bench role, but a role that he can impact games and come on and score, probably get similar to that, talking 10, similar to what he got this season. And then we've got Bamford, depending on availability, can obviously come on and help the side if needed and chip in with a few goals. So between them, going on, and I believe in Mateo Joseph, I think there is an argument that between them you could have 30 to 35 goals. I don't think you need a new striker in that sense. But there's so much risk with each player. The system-based player, is he a system-based player? No. Is he available? No. Is there a lack of unknown about Mateo Joseph? Yes. Those are the 3 problems. But we have them. We don't have centre-backs. We don't have a right-back. We don't really have a left-back behind Junior Firpo. We are missing a progressive number 8. We will lose our wingers. Is this a position we really need to hone in on? Don't think so. Because he got 8 goals, 14 goals last season. And I think Mateo Joseph does get around them numbers. I think between the 3 of them, they have the output we need from our strikers. What do you guys think? It's a tough one. It is. I just don't think we need that. I think Mateo could be whatever we bring in. We bring in a player. I think Mateo Joseph can be that. But that Olympics thing, which by the way is an unbelievable achievement for him. I'm not denying that. I'm just trying to figure it out from both perspectives here. That is it's tough because he won't be there for the final 3 weeks of preseason. Like that's tough because we need him there if he is to be this guy. But maybe he'll come back unbelievable, ready to tear it up, and Farke puts trust in him. We'll see. Will it? I know people are saying this. Farke won't put trust in him. So what's the point? That's not the point of the video. The point is me discussing to you guys. I want to know what you guys think about which one of these players, or if we need any of these players, or if we need a new striker. That's the point. I don't think we do. I think we have them. Based on the fact that I believe Mateo Joseph can have a 10 to 15 goal season next year. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I appreciate the support. See you soon. Yeah, good discussion. Peace.